Greetings dudes and welcome to another video. The North American WCQ just has concluded. This was our first major event with Infinite Forbidden being legal, and it is our second to last event before the World Championships. So as you can see here from this pie chart, these are the results. I think it comes to no surprise that Snake Eye Fiendsmith was like the dominant force in the meta that everybody was looking forward to. But there's a lot of interesting contenders that were just as close to it. One that actually took me by surprise was the 13 Tenpai Dragons. And I know that a lot of people thought about like Tenpais like just being completely power crept by Fiendsmith. However, the fact that so many topped and one even made it all the way up to top 8 kind of tells you that Tenpais actually did a quite bit of well by themselves. I think in a more polished metagame after another ban list, if Tenpai Dragons are not hit, they might be another dominant deck that comes into the format. And then you have Yubel. Yubel was the other Fiendsmith deck that a lot of people anticipated. It's not as strong as Snake Eyes, but it is very marginally close to its power level, and it has very stronger end boards. And then you have Runick, Ritual Beast, Gimmick Puppet, and then you have a few other ones like Snake Eye Fire King still actually did well despite no Volcanics. And I highly don't believe it's playing the Fiendsmith engine, so that is super interesting. Labyrinth also made it. This is a heavy trap build of Labyrinth. It only plays 4 monsters. You also have Memento. This Memento did play the Fiendsmith cards, as you can see right here, which is, as expected, but it is a very powerful deck, and it kind of proved itself this weekend. There's also tier elements. I actually know this player, Derek Hernandez. He goes to my locals. I already know this tier element deck is not playing any Fiendsmith cards. So if you're interested, and let me know. I can talk to him or I can reach out to him. Otherwise, stay tuned into the Extenders YouTube channel. He is from Team The Extenders, so they'll most likely have the deck profile up around the next 24 hours or so. But yeah, very interesting match. He almost beat the Yubel player, and this Yubel player made it all the way to top 4. So that's nothing to scoff at. I already read through the feature match. He literally just lost to Droll plus Appaloosa and Phantom Game 3, which is really, really tough for 2 elements. So really fantastic showing. One thing I really want to talk about is the Ritual Beast players. So one of the 2 players that topped is Joshua McDonald, this player right here. I read through this feature match. He did open shifter all 3 games. However, the last game he won without using the shifter, which kind of tells you that you really don't need Dimension Shifter to win with this deck. I highly encourage you to read the feature match if you are interested. But yeah, he just went toe-to-toe with him. His deck profile is not up yet. One thing that we do know is he is playing Colossus, which is one thing that I've been very vocal about when it comes to at least my deck build of Ritual Beast. I do also want to talk about this other Ritual Beast match. This is Corey. He had a pre-recorded feature match on round 5, and he was undefeated up until round 5. So I'm going to show you the duel a little bit, because there is one thing that he did that there's one situation that he ended up in that actually made me do a deck building decision that I actually haven't spoken about in this channel yet. But yeah, so if we look at the match, Corey is going real quick. He activates Lara's effect to extra normal summon. He normal summoned the Kanahawk at Resolution. Jonathan is just reading the card to make sure. Lara has way too many effects, and they're all really powerful. Now he's doing Kanahawk's effect to just banish from the main deck. He's probably going to banish another copy of Lara, despite him having an extra normal summon. There is the Lara right there. He's trying to use Lara's effect, and then Jonathan immediately contests with Ash Blossom. I think Corey still has another play because he did use Lara from hand, meaning he still has another normal summon. He normal summoned a second copy of Lara. That is kind of bad because that means all his 3 Laras are outside of rotation at the moment. But it's also a good thing because it means that he still has more Ritual Beast names in his deck to work with. So he now summons the Ulti Kanahawk. We already saw that Jonathan has Magnamut and Mourner in his hand. Jonathan is probably already familiar with Kanahawk because he did not Mourner it, which led Corey to like resolve the Kanahawk in order to just add. He's basically explaining how Spiritual Beast Tamers are treated as both names, so he can summon both Laras. And the same thing goes for Winda. She's both treated as the tamer and the animal. So he added Elder to hand, and this sets an alarm that if he's adding Elder, he probably has another Ritual Beast name in his hand to keep combo extending and normal summoning. That being said, he goes and he link summons into Kimon Falcos. And right here in Kimon Falco's case, Jonathan already knows that there are no banished Ritual Beast, so he immediately just activates the Mourner. I'll keep playing the rest of this clip, but I'm just going to preface something that it comes to a deck building decision that I made. And this situation right here is exactly the reason why I have done the choice that I have made with my deck list. So Corey's here contemplating his plays. He knows that the Mourner is a really big deal for him, so he now summons the Ultinoku Drago. Jonathan is just reading all the Ritual Beast cards. I cannot blame Jonathan for reading all of them. Like, Ritual Beast is a very, very complicated deck for those who have not familiarized themselves playing it, which is one of the reasons I think this is a really good meta contender right now, despite it not being at the same power level as Fiendsmith. So Corey's here contemplating on his plays. There's not a lot he can do at the moment. So he's going to return the Noku Drago and he's going to summon the Kanahawk. The Kanahawk is probably going to activate its effect. It's going to banish another name. He's banishing Winda. All Corey is trying to do is trying to survive next turn, making sure that the Kimon Falcos can tag out on Jonathan's turn into the Winda. And yeah, Jonathan is right here contemplating whether or not Magnamuting the Lara, which is the correct play because Lara already used her effect. And we're here at the end phase, which means he's going to summon Roku, and then Roku is just probably going to tribute itself for Pydra. Jonathan is still contemplating. He's just reading all the Ritual Beast cards, just making sure that he's not alluded to anything. So that being said, he goes to the Roku play. Roku's going to summon Pydra, as I expected. And Pydra is most likely going to add either summoning or Kaimen. He has the summoning, just giving himself a layer of protection next turn because Corey did not set any cards. Okay, so let's go back to this situation. I'm going to mimic like Corey's play and all the choke points that he have made up until one point. So right here, the Mourner hits the Kimon Falcos. And knowing the fact that he added Elder to his hand and he did not set any cards, it's a highly possibility that one of the other cards in his hand was a Ritual Beast Animal, which means he could have kept combo extending and probably full comboed through these two hand traps. We already know that the last hand trap that the Tenpai player had was Magnamut, and Magnamut was not really going to influence any other plays if he were to resolve the Kimon Falcos. So what I'm going to do here is something a little bit different from what Corey did. I'm going to keep summoning the OT like Noku Drago. However, if you saw my past Ritual Beast deck lists and you've seen all the deck reports that I have made, you already know that I play a second copy of Kimon Falcos. And this is exactly the reason why. The main reason is because I wanted guaranteed a Psychic type monster for Rampengu's effect in order to just dump Lara and just have the OT Kimon Falcos still in my extra deck. But the second reason is because of this expected play of Mourner to Kimon Falcos. If you do this play, the Kimon Falcos is going to banish. We're going to normal summon the Elder, and you still you guaranteed have full combo, and you can just play through these two hand traps depending on what other animal that you have. So I cannot blame Corey for playing one Kimon Falcos. Not many people do this, but now seeing this play and seeing my deck reports should just give you an idea of something you might want to do in the future if you are playing Ritual Beast. Let's go back to talking about the North American NAWCQ. So the fact that two Ritual Beasts made it and one of them made it all the way up to top 32 kinda tells you how very respected the deck is at this current format. So let's go and talk a little bit about like the top 8. As you can see here, in the top 8, we have one Tempai, we have two Yubel decks, and you have the rest being Fiendsmith Snake Eyes. Despite how many little Yubel decks made it to top cut, the conversion rate up until top 8 is being very like interesting, to say the least. That kind of tells you that Yubel like is pretty much the second best deck in the format, and if Snake Eyes gets addressed, this might get pushed to top meta contention. This is the deck list from Marshall. Marshall made it all the way up to top 4. He had a couple of feature matches. One thing that we see from his deck list is he's playing two copies. He is playing two copies of the contract. So in the Yubel strategy, you play multiple copies of the contract because your win condition is summoning the Air Eater with the Sequentia, and doing this means that you get to like extend through many other plays just using the Fiendsmith engine, which is very different from the Lacrima play. If you do the Lacrima play, then you cannot do the track play without another extender. But on the Yubel deck itself, you can actually do the track play because of Necroquip and Air Eater without your normal summon, which is something very interesting to take note of. You see the Droll in the main. This was kind of expected, this format. Let's go back to like the deck lists. Let's talk about Aditya's list because he's our North American champion. For those people who don't know who Aditya is, he's like kick-started like topping left and right last year with the Unchained strategy. He won like a bunch of regionals left and right, and after that he just kept topping event after event, and that was how he kick-started his career in the format. So really good player. One thing that we see is the multiple Bystials in the main deck, and I'm going to put to the description my YGOALERT video, but I called this. Like, this is something that I predicted would happen like since the cards got announced in the OCG. I spoke about highly likely how Bystials would be influenced in the format. One of the main reasons is because it is cards that contest against the Gimmick Puppet FTK deck. It narrows well into White Forest, even though White Forest did on top. It is a respectable deck, this format. It contests against the Fiendsmith engine. It contests against the Yubel deck as well. These cards are just really powerful, and they're warranted to be played in the main deck. Another thing about the Bystials is there are level 6s, so you can do the Beatrice play if you get stopped on your Fiendsmith plays halfway. It also synergizes with the Lacrima, because Lacrima can bring back the Fiendsmith from Banished. So you can just combo extend by banishing it and then using Lacrima to reborn it. And more importantly, and this is one thing I did not bring up, but it is something a lot of players has been bringing up under their profiles. These are extra bodies that you can use for summoning Closed Heaven. So whether or not you're facing against this deck, you should be worried about like these cards. Another card I was really vocal about, and not many people played it in their decks, except like the national champion. And I'm really surprised that not many people who picked up on this card. It's Silhouette Rabbit. Like, I've already, if you've seen my past videos for the past few weeks, I was very vocal on this card. I spoke about how this card, being an endgame M-board piece in like Snake Eye decks or heavy combo heavy decks, is just really powerful. And like, Azarun is no joke. Like, this card really is a problem for a couple of decks. And the fact that you can use this card like after they try to break your board, it is a trap card, so it is very hard to stop after like post Dark Ruler or post other things. Just kind of shows you just how powerful the rabbit play is. This is pretty much like Verte Anaconda. Like, you just summoning this card as part of your end board. And the most powerful thing about Silhouette Rabbit is you can just summon this and set the Azarun if you get Dimension Shifted. So, like, this is another play that just the Snake Eye deck has to contest against Shifter. The Bystials are also fine if you get Shifted as well, because they're just extenders that you can just summon on the board. You can use Baldur's Effect to just, like, banish something, Manamut to just add another extender. Juris Worm is just the least useful one, but it's still a 2500 beater that is level 6. So, one thing to just be respectful about. I guess we can talk about Mo Charmy. Mo Charmy was a card that was dwindling in possibly playability, but then a lot of people picked up on their side decks. So that's not to say this is like one of the best hand traps in the format or anything, but like, this card is actually seeing play, and if you don't respect it, you will fall into despair for your opponent drawing multiple cards. And this will only get worse once Rage of the Abyss comes out, because then we'll have Mo Charmy for Ross. One thing that is interesting about Aditya's list is that he kept Anima in the main deck, and he just kept Access Code in the side deck alongside Dark. Keeping an Access Code is not as rare, but keeping Anima in the main is something a lot of people are not doing. And this is more important in Aditya's case, because he is playing Silhouette Rabbit in the main deck alongside the Angel Statue. You can make the debate whether or not Angel Statue is a Brit going second. However, like, Aditya winning this event kind of tells you that he really didn't mind it. Yeah. Phantasme, another really fantastic card. This just falls into the same line of why you're playing the Bystials. It's just another hand trap that is also a body for the Closed Heaven. And this card is searchable off Magnamut, so it has synergy with the Bystials. The only thing that it needed for it to be perfect was to it being level 6, but we're okay with it being level 7. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to talk about after this. Like, welcome to Infinite Forbidden format. Until the next Forbidden Limited list, this is probably our meta game for the time being. I know a lot of people are not a fan of this format. A lot of people are just disgusted by how things are shaping up. But give it a little time. I think this is not going to be like the end all be all of this format. I think Konami is doing a smart move, waiting it out, because they know that these decks could be problematic if they don't address them correctly. Like, as someone who has been playing this TCG for over 10 years, and have played multiple Tier 0 formats, I can tell you for certain this is not the longest or the worst one. But until then, I hope you found what I said very informative to your liking and understanding. Keep practicing and keep dueling.